This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. The Middle Ground Mike is fighting for truth and unity. Subscribe now or support us today. Links are in the notes. Stand with us. What's coming in 2026 will be the first election in American history where the biggest threat isn't Russia, it's not China, or the media, or even the candidates themselves. It's artificial intelligence, not the fun, friendly chatbot kind, but I'm talking about the silent censorship engines, the political filters, the deep fake factories, the digital surveillance systems, and the comment section bot armies that are already shaping how we talk, what we think, and who the algorithms want to win. And if you think this sounds dramatic, buckle up. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something way bigger than just politics as usual. And of course, politics is tied in. Because what's coming in 2026 will be the first election in American history where the biggest threat isn't Russia, it's not China, or the media, or even the candidates themselves. It's artificial intelligence, not the fun, friendly chatbot kind, but I'm talking about the silent censorship engines, the political filters, the deep fake factories, the digital surveillance systems, and the comment section bot armies that are already shaping how we talk, what we think, and who the algorithms want to win. And if you think this sounds dramatic, buckle up. Michigan is one of 4 states being targeted the hardest according to research. Detroit, Downriver, Flint, Grand Rapids, and everywhere else in America, we're going to be a test bed this year. And we're going to be a test bed for political manipulation. So tonight, we're going to break down piece by piece the AI. Tonight, we're going to break down piece by piece the AI censorship cartel, the deepfake infrastructure, the government AI surveillance and the bot armies, the free speech war, and how all of this is going to impact your vote this year and other parts of our politics. The censorship cartel, right? Who's controlling the narrative? Because it sure as hell isn't the voters, it seems. Because what we want just never seems to line up once they're in office in Washington. So what's really going on? But here's the truth. OpenAI, Google, Meta, and Anthropic have built something that functions like a modern political cartel. Not officially, not publicly, but in practice. And sometimes that's not even what the intent was. But let me explain how this can work. Every major AI company now has political safety teams that watch these things. These people decide what topics the models are allowed to talk about, or they may not say we're censoring it, but they'll make sure the algorithm buries it based on what's going on, right? They decide when issues are dangerous, which narratives are unverified, or which election topics need to be flagged, filtered, rewritten, or blocked entirely. To be fair, a lot of companies have really seemed to kind of back away from censoring a lot of things compared to where they used to, but I still see a lot of people out there saying stuff that they post, things of that nature, are being taken down. I have not really had that issue too much, thank God. But who are these people, right? They're former campaign workers for politicians. They're former government staffers. They're academics tied to partisan politics and think tanks. They're NGO operatives who create misinformation lists. These teams, they work together, not like from company to company, but they come together, they formulate these plans, and then they take these plans or these models, these programs, whatever you want to call it, and they feed them into the AI models, political do's and don'ts, and the models use that. They obey it, right? Because that's how it works. But try this yourself. Ask these AIs about certain 2026 candidates. Ask about all the policies that you can think of, right? Border policy, Palestine, abortion, crime, layoffs, election concerns. And the answers are filtered through a hidden political lens. But some candidates, you are going to get direct answers. But others, they get walls. You're going to get rewriting. You're going to get full flat out refusals. This is the first layer of the cartel, algorithmic censorship, and it's already reshaping voter perception. Just look back at a couple of my episodes and how things panned out after the election here in November 2025 in general across the nation, and how that changed what the projections were for the government control after the 2026 elections. And this is also based on current data and also on the exit polls. Michigan, here where I'm at, the queries about the governor's race, man, they're going crazy. Depending on what it can be, right? If you're not fitting whatever narrative is, whether it's Michigan's governor's race, a federal race, president, whatever House, Senate, certain things will trigger suppression filters more than almost any other, depending on certain political issues. But let's talk about the quote unquote deep fake election. I don't know if this is true. I'm not part of the deep fake, but if you thought fake news was bad, wait until the news talks back. Deepfake political content is up 900% in 12 months, especially that Sora 2 model for AI. I use that for some of the AI videos that I make for like the intro promo. Great stuff. But that's not a prediction. That's a measurement. And again, all this will be in the fact sheet. Check it out. We've already seen fake Biden robocalls. We've seen AI generated attack ads. And, we've seen some politicians get fooled by AI generated content and call it facts and then have to retract it. We've seen influencers, like I'm just saying, they're influencers unknowingly sharing doctored political clips. And the scariest part, there is no federal standard, none. Meaning anyone, a foreign actor, a political action committee, a pissed off private citizen can generate a fake political video and under 20 seconds can possibly ruin careers, cause chaos. Now think about this. These can even hit your local races, your mayors, your state reps, your sheriffs, your school boards, your city council, your governors, your state legislatures. Nobody has the infrastructure to verify deep fake attacks to the level that it's happening. We are not prepared for a 900% increase that's already happened. A fake video could drop the day before an election and there would be no way for us to stop it. That's why some experts in the United States are calling 2026 America's first deepfake election as a possibility. Let's talk a little bit about the government and AI surveillance and digital ID. This is the part they really don't want you to know. Even if they tell you, they're probably going to make sure you don't quite understand it. While big tech is building political filters, the government is building something else. AI surveillance. And it's already here. It's already integrated into a lot. They use facial recognition all the time. But they're developing and starting to use predictive policing tools, facial recognition systems that are even more advanced than they are now. Digital ID proposals are really going crazy. Border surveillance is powered by autonomous AI, which really helps. Some of these things can be good if they're used in the right way. The problem is we don't always trust the people who are creating them because they've never given us a reason to trust them yet. Multiple states are piloting these systems. The federal government is funding it. Courts are starting to push back, but the tech is rolling forward fast. And Congress is starting to come up with some ideas and laws to protect us from certain things. Check out some of the House bills that have been proposed and some of the arguments on the floor. They're out there. Call your reps, call your senators, tell them we need to act. In the United States, facial recognition has already sparked lawsuits after wrongful arrests, and now AI-driven tools are being integrated into, again, even more into the policing, traffic system, public monitoring. People aren't worrying about Big Brother, but what they're now facing is algorithm brother. That sometimes can make a mistake and an innocent person might get affected, and we don't really have the tools to prepare or defend it at the current moment. The government needs to have limits just like AI. So we need our senators, we need our House reps, our governors, and our legislators to really go after this. AI is creating a war on the middle class inadvertently. And I'm not bashing AI. Understand, I'm saying this again, AI can be a good thing. But everyone's talking about the culture wars while the real war is happening in your own home. It is wiping out middle class work at a pace we've never seen. Factories, service centers, they're shifting to AI managed places. They're moving power away from traditional workers. The white collar layoffs are exploding. Journalists, law offices, paralegals are one of the hardest hit so far. Human resources, because there's a lot less bias, there's a lot less gray area with AI, accounting, and marketing. And even middle management positions are getting eaten up by AI. And the people pushing this, it's your politicians, your CEOs, and your corporate lobbyists. And they're telling workers to upskill while they automate the entire middle class out of the economy. Because they're telling you to go spend crazy amounts of money to upgrade. And then when you go get that job, you're making the same as you did before with an additional $10,000, $20,000 debt. They know exactly what they're doing. Yeah, inequality is skyrocketing. Nobody in Washington is taking it super serious to the point where something's getting done. These election bots, the AI comment armies, they're insane. Political groups, especially in the United States, are already being hit hard by bot armies. There's AI generated accounts out there, and this is verifiable. Every news source has talked about it. They're posing as conservatives, they're posing as progressives and Democrats, they're posing as Republicans, they're posing as centrists, and they pose as fed up independents. I'm not fake, I promise you. But their mission is not persuasion, it's division. Just look at Google Trends. Look at anything. Division sells. Division is always near the top. If some of these people really wanted to make a difference, don't you think they would change the algorithm to bury divisive things? Push maybe more friendly content that's going to help you be a happier person? I would think so, but it doesn't make them money. They inflate the extreme takes. They attack moderates. I see it all the time. And they hijack discussions. They make normal people feel outnumbered. and a psychological manipulation directly targeting swing voters. And yes, some local campaigns are already testing AI responders to amplify talking points. This is AI versus free speech. It's like a digital muzzle. This part, this is the part that affects creators, everybody. Whether you're posting something online on your personal TikTok, Facebook, whatever, and millions of Americans. The AI systems now classify political speech into risk categories. These topics are labeled as misinformation because they look for certain trigger keywords. Even let's say you're parenthesizing something, depending on the model, that could trigger your content. Boom, you're banned. Even if it's your own personal stuff, boom, you're banned. It happens out there. People even share screenshots of it. It happens. It's never happened to me, thank God, but I have seen it happen. I've heard about people talking about it. And political creators, especially centers, we get hit the hardest. Why? Because we touch on topics, we touch on opinions and views that both sides want to control. I had a debate the other day with a guy on Facebook, and it was about, it was kind of centered around him saying because every talking point I didn't use was pointed towards pro something Democratic, that somehow I was a phony and all sorts of stuff. I mean, we ended up, hey, boom, we found a middle ground at the end. But he was like of such the mindset that he was saying compromise is how we got here. No, lack of compromise. Look at the history lately. They force things. They're always looking to manipulate the rules in the government to get their agenda through. They want to manipulate the rules to get the agenda through. That's not paranoia. I mean, look at the government shutdown. They were talking about getting rid of the filibuster that's helped protect a lot of things in this country by not allowing certain things to pass. It has also ruined certain things, but it's there meant to protect people. And they were willing to go away with it. The United States is seeing creators see stricter declines in the reach during 2024 cycle, and 2026 is looking worse. This isn't moderation, it's manipulation. What does all this mean for this coming up midterm election cycle in 2026? This isn't a left versus right issue. It's a power issue for you, the voter. AI is now the biggest censor, the biggest propaganda engine, the biggest surveillance tool, the biggest job killer, and the biggest influence machine in political history of known mankind time. All of this is going to collide in 2026, especially here in the United States. We've really got to go after this. Whether you're here in Michigan, whether you're anywhere in the country, we got to go after this. Like we really got to push our leaders to pass some sort of laws. I did an episode about a month or two ago. If you look it up with Jacob Ward, AI political tech guy, my God, you learn a lot. He was telling me that a lot of these tech CEOs, there was like an unwritten thing where they were kind of supposed to be left to their own devices and they were supposed to be portrayed as the good guys until Trump and Biden came along. It was like an unwritten rule. Our government was actively letting them develop this stuff, knowing what was coming. They've known it. And that they're going to sit there and tell us to our face that we didn't. But look at their actions. Look at what people that have worked in these industries are saying to you. Don't let them fool you. It's there. Use your eyes. Use your gut. Check it out. And don't let politics control it. You control your future. The more you don't let it control you, the less it will try. And I encourage you to look up some stuff, find books, whatever, to learn how to talk to different AI bots, right? Because depending on how you type something out, changes the way that bot responds. So you could learn different things about how to spot an AI bot better. Or if you do use AI to make small videos or whatever, it will teach you and it will help. Knowing AI is half the battle to beating this. Don't be afraid of it. Let's take it on and conquer it. And let's remind AI and the tech industry and the government that we, the people, are the ones that run the show, not them. I'm not calling for some crazy stuff. No, I'm just saying we run the show. We have to learn. We have to be informed just like they are. They are informed. That's the difference. They are informed accurately, not of political talking points. They're not off, well, the Republican was worse or, well, the Democrat was worse. They're not doing that off of that. They may tell you that on TV. They're going to tell you that in these campaign slogans, these rallying events, these town halls. They're going to get you to believe it. Don't believe me if you're thinking about, well, not that bad, Trump's bad or Biden's bad. You're doing exactly what I just said it was going to tell you to do. Exactly that. And it knows it. It knows that you will put an allegiance half the time to a party that would gladly watch you have no food. And then tell you they're going to take the $5 out of your pocket, hand you $2 back and go, here's a handout. We're helping you eat. This show is not left. It's not right. It's forward. It's calling it how we see it because we try to find balance, right? Like I said, learn AI, master it so it cannot conquer you. We call things out even when they make people feel uncomfortable. We don't take orders from political machines. We don't let algorithms dictate the conversation. And as we move into the 2026 cycle with deepfakes, censorships, these bots out there, surveillance systems going crazy, and the digital propaganda, the only way to keep people grounded is to be honest and to be balanced and to be fearless. And Michigan, keep pushing that purple. Keep showing the country we can get things done. And America, let's make this happen. And that's what we do here. No left, no right, forward. This is the Middle Ground Mike, and I'm Joe. And talk to you next time.